Hello, my name is Nick Seider, and I am the creator and producer of Seider and Company, and the writer and director of our first film, Tales on the Rails, Casey Jones' Last Ride. It is April 2025, and with me is Aya Kashima Stone. She is the artist and animator for this project, and we got together today to share with you all a little bit about her artwork, her animation, and particularly her work on Casey Jones' Last Ride and the process that led to the final product. Hi, Aya. How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thank you for
Great.
inviting.
Oh, yeah, I've been looking forward to this. And before we get started in discussing the film itself and your work on it, I also want to take this opportunity to highlight you a little bit more, Aya. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and perhaps some of your earlier influences in art and animation?
Sure. I'm Aya Stone. I'm graphic designer in LA. Um, I'm originally from Japan, and then I got influenced a lot from American animation, like the Disney film and then Cartoon Network film animation. Um, And then I grown up watching lots of this animation. And then when I was high school, I got influenced a lot by the concept artists working at Disney, doing the especially doing the traditional painting for the film. And then I was inspired a lot, and that makes me motivate to come to America to study arts. So yeah, that's kind of motivation. And then since I
Yeah.
came to US, I keep staying and then working for arts creative industry in LA. So
Yeah, well, I'm very grateful to have made use of you at this point in your career because, as I understand it, we're one of your first freelance projects that you've worked with since last year, right?
hmm
Yeah. So you've been working in the animation industry for a while. I'm curious if you don't mind sharing a little more, what motivated the change to freelance?
yeah, I think I wanted to try something by myself. Actually, I was in graphic designer work more,
Okay.
so that is like more design the websites or the catalog, um, using the existing assets. So I really like enjoy the job, and then that's as a freelance, I'm still doing graphic designer, but the I wanted to expand my opportunity a little bit more for illustration stuff, and also animation. Um, so as freelance, I think it's more give me the freedom space to explore more opportunity outside of graphic design. So that's part
Absolutely.
of the reason. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually didn't know about your graphic design background that much. I only, I know you through animation and through through your husband and my friend Grayson, and and I just want to share it was I almost was a graphic design major, so I can really appreciate your work all the more.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, graphic design is such a great way to express art in color, and yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, that's I only know you through art, so that's great to learn that about you. Graphic design is its own art, but I mean animation, of course. Well, the focus of this chat is to discuss your artwork,
hmm
and the process you took to develop the animation for Casey Jones' Last Ride. As a starting point, I think we should touch on the reference work we both exchanged when we began
hmm
working together last year. Um, and I have a few pieces that I kind of have here to share and just to kind of give a sense of where I think some people will kind of get a sense of, oh yeah, I see the connection between the final product and where this all started. So um,
hmm
I initially shared with you some artwork like this here. This is a Benton piece. In fact, I shared quite a few Benton pieces, but this is a
mm
Benton piece here where we really started playing with, immediately where we're doing a black and white picture. We want it to be, heavy contrast and things like that. And then I also have another Benton piece I wanted to share here. Here, it is literally the Casey Jones piece that he did. These are all back. This artwork is from the 30s, and that piece there is is great because it's kind of encapsulating exactly the story that we're touching on. Although the big piece that I really that actually is one of the main inspirations for me to want to do in animation in this story is this piece by Nichols. It's from 1950 and it's a similar kind of thing. It's the wreck of the cannonball, and I love this piece because I feel this sense of animation and the way that it was developed. Of course, this is a color piece, but it was important to share that. Um, and then, of course, you needed a little bit more reference material. And there's actually one picture that I'm really excited to share. It's of the handbrake, just because it's such a clear, like, oh, yeah, you're going to clearly see that in the film because
Yeah.
of that one shot where yeah. And so we definitely were referring to a lot of very real pieces. Most important of those pieces of course, was the locomotive that Casey Jones used the night that he wrecked it. And so let me bring that up here. And that's it. That's this right here. Of course, we used lots of reference for this. I gave you lots of imagery of this type of locomotive, and we even recorded a model train set up with that replica of the locomotive just to give you some extra reference material, which we won't share here, but check it out on the Cider and Company YouTube channel if you're curious. Um, and let's see, those are the reference pieces I really wanted to share just to kind of discuss the art style that I presented to you, for you to
Hmm.
kind of take your own style and then lean into the direction for this project. Um, do you remember sharing any? I remember you sharing some animation that you referred to of like really classic animation. In particular, I think it was
Yeah.
Japanese. Yeah.
Um,
And you don't even need to bring it up if you don't want to, but I just would love to just reference that because it's just
yeah.
yeah.
I think it was the actually French animation.
Oh, okay.
I really like the your reference style and then the direction you're going to, the pencil or charcoal drawing. So
Right.
it's really it's black and white, no color, but the it has the strong storytelling through the like each stroke of the blushes or the pencils stroke. And I really feels that like that's the kind of main direction I want to go for this project. So because it's the old story and it's not like modern, so I wanted to show that some little bit history or like antique or from the animation style. And then I think the reference I sent you is the really it's a 2D animation the showing the really strong pencil drawing style. Um, and I really love the your references. That makes me it that inspire me a lot to like I could visual the final animation from your reference. So yeah, the
Actually, as you say that, I want to bring up one more reference because it's actually just because it's going to be a clear for anybody that's seen the film or watches it after this that will see, oh yeah, I can see that she designed that shot following this piece of influence.
mm,
I did a I have a history degree. I did a history project that led to doing a lecture at a railroad museum in the Sierra Nevada mountains in California. And there was this photographer that had his photos for sale, and I bought a few of them. And they are in my house, and I'm pulling it up. I'm looking for it right now. Here it is. Yeah, okay. Um, and it's just a fun one because I love this picture, and it's a picture of a picture, by the way. You're gonna see uh a picture of a picture, and it's because if we were recording this from my home, I'm out of state right now, but if we were recording this from my home, it would be there. But here, it's this picture right here, And of course it's adapted for our piece, but it's the idea of that silhouette of the train on the landscape, and even having that windmill in the shot, and it passes by. I love that shot, and I love also the creativity you took with that shot, where it's the landscape that's moving. The train is essentially standing still, but that landscape is doing the work for us, and I love that. Anyway, um, okay, let's stop sharing that. And yeah, I guess that kind of leads into the next stage of it. You ended up taking that reference material and bringing
Mm-hmm.
out some great concept art, and I have the concept art here, just to share a few pieces from it. Here we go. And I think I can actually, yes. Okay, perfect. So in this piece, I can just go through. Yeah, here's that first shot, where that train comes into the station. And I mean, just to get a sense of right where you were getting started with this. And that second shot, it's so far. I actually haven't looked at these since, by the way. So this is fresh for me to go back and look at these.
Yeah, me
And it's
too.
what, yeah. And I mean, it's great because like it's so fun to see. Well, the core shot's still there. You still have the little passenger walking off in the back, but you developed the passenger car, and anyway, it's just fun to see how that all happened. This is essentially the same shot, but of course we added the fireman's sim web into the shot, uh, and the movement of the wheels. And the movement of the wheels we'll get back to, because that's one of the shots where I think you can really kind of see that blending of your approach to animation, which is traditional, and also using things like Blender to kind of bring it to life in a 21st century medium. And in this beautiful shot, this is actually one of my favorite pieces of the reference art, because I think reference art, or not reference art, but like storyboard art is its own sort of art style in a way. There's an
Mm-hmm.
appreciation of just like how much detail can be said in such a small, just in a loose, broad strokes. This one's really fun because you just can feel the space that the train's in. Uh,
Mm.
and of course, there's that shot that we eventually have as our landscape shot. And then this top-down shot, which I think that the model train reference footage was slightly helpful with that one, because we were able to get a
Yeah.
top-down of that.
Uh-huh.
That was fun to be able to capture something like that with the model trains. Um, and of course, this was the initial shot that we had planned here
Mm, yeah,
for
we
the kind
changed
of
a lot.
quiet, still landscape of the train that's stuck on the tracks. And we,
Mm,
of course, went with a different angle for it because we wanted to show the back end and the whole train, and ended up
mm-hmm.
putting an owl in there too, which I'm so happy about. That's like one of my favorite little tidbits
Yeah,
is the owl. So
if
thank
you
you for
can
that.
find it, that's the
Exactly. No, that's the whole thing is you hear the owl. If you ever see it again, you might see, oh, there's the owl in the little bottom. Yeah. And then of course, at this point we were just focused on the first half. So at this point you just giving, broad strokes. This shot's so fun. I love this shot. You can feel the movement and the space between the trains in this one. And of course our handbrake. Yeah. Anyway, it's fun to go through these again.
Yeah, I
Um,
I think the at some point this storyboards process helped me a lot to understand what's really happening in this event. Like I think beginning I was not understanding how the train didn't see the other train and the
mhm.
distance wise, and then like what's really happening in the station. But I
Right.
think that makes it like more clear for me to like, okay, the train actually crashed into the backside of the other train, so it's not front side of course,
Hmm.
but like
But you
these
would think of
small,
that as your, yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So and then when we look at together, I think we change a lot since this storyboard.
Yeah, we
So
did. It's fun
yeah,
to
it's
see the amount of
interesting.
change that happened, what stayed the same and what changed. And
Yeah.
yeah. And I think actually what's incredible is and I gave you the space right out the gate. I gave you some senses of the shots we wanted to do, but other than really other than that one key shot of the picture, I kind of gave you free rein on how you wanted to imagine these. And it is nice, I think, to see that we really, I think, stayed true to your original vision for this. We just really
Mm-hmm.
ended up kind of honing it into the accuracy of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, and I guess that kind of brings to the next part of this that I wanted to touch on. I initially wanted something, as close to traditional 2D animation as we could get. My whole thing is trying to make pieces today that feel like they were made yesterday. And in the process of production, both in live action and in your process for animation, I learned that we really need to accept that to go backwards, you also have to go forwards. And you have to embrace new technology while exploring older styles and approaches, in not just, you know, it's about bringing something that's still really original, but that people can still watch and feel that sense of nostalgia. In fact, just to reference a show I just started watching The Studio, Seth Rogen's The Studio. It's on Apple
Mm-hmm.
TV. Anyway, what's really interesting of how he's shooting it, he's shooting it in a very classic style, but it's a very modern
Mm,
show. And I
mm-hmm.
think that that really is, it's that blend that works really well. And that gets back to you. I think you're the reason I can embrace this a lot more because you seem to take this combined approach to your artwork. As I understand it, you present these 2D environments, but you use 3D elements as a way to build the space. Can you
Mm.
discuss more about your approach to creating artwork and in particular the pieces in our project?
Yeah, so this whole show, the animation part is all hand drawn. So it's not really using the I use the Blender a lot, that which
Mm-hmm.
is the 3D software.
Mm-hmm.
But the blender is for me to help draw the 2D parts. It's not like I'm not making the 3D animation. It's more like that's a tool I can use for 2D animation. And I can share the screen quick for what I made for this show.
Oh yeah. I
Can you
remember
see
seeing
it?
this a long time ago. Oh, this is
So,
so cool.
this is the shots I reference for after Simweb jump off
Mm-hmm.
from the train and then looking to the two train crash into, and then um 3D helps me a lot to what's the really distance between them. 2D animation, 2D illustration is easy to tweak the distance size stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
I I prefer using 3D to see the perspective is correct, the size wise is correct, so that I can feel more focus on style or like brush stroke, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Um, so this is the model. Quickly just do it for just checking the size and distance so that SimWeb is jump off from the train and then see, I think the camera probably around here
Mm-hmm.
in the final
That
shots.
looks pretty darn close. Yeah.
So I can feel confident that like, okay, this is not cheating. This is pretty accurate as the true camera camera work.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I think the other one is, can you see this one too?
I can see it. Yeah, I can see
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Um Yeah, it's the one shot before the Casey Jones jump off the train, but the yeah, the two train approaching. I think this is exact same shots. Um I I draw over this perspective. I think I added the tree and the forest in the
Mm-hmm.
final version, but the this was pretty good reference for me that like um the size wise and the perspective was easy for me to draw. So in the after I draw each train and the background in Photoshop, I move the each asset to the After Effects and then animate After Effects. If the character is actually moving, like the Casey Jones, sorry, the Simwebs is standing up
Mm-hmm.
animation part, I use the animation software called Adobe Animate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that was the I draw the character's movement frame by frame, so that I prefer that way so that it gives more 2D animation organic feeling to the audience. That like because people can tell which one is 2D, which one is 3D. And then I think for your project, I feel like 3D isn't too much for your organic feeling of the.
No, I don't think so at
So,
all.
so I try to make it more 2D as much as possible, still keeping the depth
Hmm.
that 3D animation can give. So that's how I kind of mix together um, the yeah the 3D software to the animation.
I mean, there it is, folks. Anyone watching this, this is the heart of, I think, really what she's doing. This is what I mean by that blend. It's not 3D art in a traditional sense. It's not a 3D film. It's an animated film, and she's using different tools to bring this to life. And I love that because that isn't what I had in my mind when we started this.
mm,
When I had this initial idea way back when it was just a conductor character in my head, yeah, it was, and I think that's the beauty of a project is too when you give the space and the flexibility for change. I think that's something that a lot of storytellers have trouble with is letting go of that initial fantasy of what it is in your head. It's never going to be that. You should explore what's new and see where that leads. And I think that what you have something here is just it's really special. And that's really why part of why I wanted to get together and do this and highlight the work that you did in this project.
mm.
So thank you for all the work. One of the most important things this production required was animation that felt like it evoked other styles from the 1940s and the 1950s. You just spoke a little bit about that. The style is what helps seamlessly connect the live action story to the artwork, and overall kind of just completes the illusion of time in this. You obviously leaned into this direction in the reference material provided, but your style of art in its own is distinct and across your own pieces. You just gave us a taste of your approach to this, but I'm just curious, can you share a little bit more about your own style and where it comes from? And how continue to develop it as you continue to progress as an artist.
It's kind of difficult question for
Yeah,
me because
fair
the
enough.
the style is not I haven't figured out by myself yet. For the freelance project like this, the for me it's really important to match the style to the director's opinion. So when I work on animation the project, I try not to be like um going my style, but I
Of
try
course.
to do the style that match to each project. So for this one, I think I try to do more the reference, the illustration work that you provided. I think my main focus was try to make it looks like that drawing. I think
Sure. Okay.
in the other way, little bit uh unconsciously, the I intentionally like probably my own style start leaking too, so that makes it combine together in the
Mm-hmm.
end. But I think the original reference Nick provided was the base for this deep project, so which is the black and white pencil drawing style, um, and then a lot of texture,
Of
and then
course.
2D, uh, and give the antique feeling to the audience. So it telling that like it's not the current storyline, it's the old. It's not like you know 2025.
Yeah.
Um, and then also the original film has the mm, how to say like really authentic uh um the the authentic feeling when I watch it because it's
Mm-hmm.
black and white. The
Mm-hmm.
character wear the train conductor's costume. It's definitely not the like uh modern TV show style. It's more like different from our age. And so I didn't want to break you're authentic from the live action parts to the animation if it looks really cartoony or like really to 3D or like if it looks too modern, I didn't want to break the,
Of
you
course not.
know, yeah, wanted
Right.
to find a marge, the good points for um so it was kind of experiment for me in the beginning. So when I work on the first shot, that which is the scene one, the train approaching the station, I think that time I I used a lot of brush stroke on the
Hmm.
background to make it pencil drawing.
Hmm.
But through working on this project, I find out too strong texture is a little bit better for final animation because it's moving. It's not like single
Right.
illustration. So I think I take out some texture in the end to find a way to what's the best way to tell this story in the animation wise. So I was learning through the
Well,
through
aren't
the
we all?
process
I mean,
too.
I'm learning too. I haven't done a film since high school. So, for me,
Mm,
this has been a learning experience. It continues to be. And I think that's the beauty of art is as long as you're open to the learning and the change, you're able to do that. We are running out of a little bit of time, it looks like, because a pop-up just came up on Zoom and I am using free Zoom. So assuming that we're getting close to the end of this, I'm going to move on to just kind of this end phase, and it's just a couple quick questions. What other projects are you working on right now? You finished this up at the beginning, at the end of March. What are you up to right now?
I'm trying to learn more Blender. I think I started learning actually last year, so it's not a long history for me to learn this 3D software. So, right now for my personal project, I try to get better for 3D, but I'm not really going to 3D animation, but the try to find a 2D animation while using the Blender. So that's kind of my personal project too.
Well, and
Um,
that's through this April, or at least part of it is through this April plein air project you've
yeah,
been
that
working
leads
on.
to
Yeah.
it's the challenge hosted by Warrior Painter Group. They go outside and then paint actually on the paper or the canvas. But the I wanted to try was using the Blender to do one painting every day. So
Well, I've been loving the pieces because it's such a taste of you. And I do believe that you're going to see distinct tastes of Aya's style in all of the pieces you work on. But what's fun to
uh,
see with just your own craft is just how colorful you want to bring in, you bring so much color in life into the work you do. I mean, I love your pieces, your city scenes and all of that. And
thank
that is all
you.
just a lead to a big plug for you. If you want to check out anyone watching this, if you want to check out Aya's artwork, she's on Instagram at Aya2Yuki. And she also has a website, ayakashima.com. Do you have any other places you want, the people to
I think
know you
that's
think
all.
those are the
Yeah.
big spots to see you?
Uh-huh.
Great. Well, and you can see her animation, of course, in this project, Casey Jones' Last Ride, along with the film itself on our website for this project, which is talesontherails.net. Thanks for watching or listening to this little behind the scenes chat between myself and my friend and animator, Aya Stone. We hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you had some fun because I had a lot of fun doing this with you today.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thank you, Nick, for
Absolutely.
inviting.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. We'll be talking soon. All right. Bye now.
Bye.